Hi Peter, how are you? Alex wrote to me a couple of weeks ago and said that this was your big day when you're finally going to move on from Frontline. And he asked if I could do a short message. How could I say no? Fortunately for you, I don't know any embarrassing stories whatsoever. Well, there was the lap dancing in Edinburgh, but I promised Alex faithfully I wouldn't mention that at all, despite how much you spent that night. But talking of Edinburgh, there is one story that just rings a bell that I thought I'd have to share with everybody else. So, I'm sorry, sit and squirm for the next 2 minutes. I'd not been with the company very long, and you insisted that I must go to Edinburgh and Glasgow with you to understand what auditing was all about. So after a rather rapid 4.5 hours on the train, listening to you and nobody else, we arrived. And we conducted an audit. And I could see what a warm reception they gave you in Menzies. The fact that after 4.5 hours, no coffee, no tea, no welcome, just an audit. And I knew I was in the presence of greatness at that point. But that's not really the story. That evening, you said to me, we must go out for dinner. Edinburgh is a wonderful city, and you knew it like the back of your hand. And there the problem really started. And off we went to a rather nice restaurant, and we were enjoying, as I remember, a carafe of wine. My first and last carafe, I have to say. And after about 10 to 15 minutes, I noticed these two ladies of a vintage, actually probably slightly older than the wine we were drinking. How do I put this politely? Giving you the eye. And lo and behold, within 5 minutes, you were off. And I was, again, just struck by just how incredible you were with these two ladies. It was like a silver-haired fox. Just, the words were just tripping off your tongue. You were regaling them with your stories of your youth. I was just absolutely your wingman for the next half an hour, huh? And to be honest, that passed in quite a blur. And all I can really remember is that one of the ladies at one point asked you who you worked for. And you obviously told her. And she said, oh, you know, my son works in that kind of arena also, for Menzies. But the conversation passed. And realistically, what are the chances? Well, we found out, didn't we? So, at the end of the evening, and I will just point out to the audience, it was just me and Peter by 11 o'clock, having a wee dram in a hotel in Edinburgh, just by ourselves. He's a fox, but he's not that kind of fox. So, the next morning, up we get, and we go into Menzies' head office in Edinburgh. And all's going well. We're going through to see Neil Earnshaw, and his desk is just in the middle of the floor in a random pattern of about 1,000 people or whatever works in Menzies distribution. And as we walk through, Neil laughs and comes over to us and says, we can just go to an office if we prefer, rather than to his desk. No, that's fine. We'll just go to the desk, do our quick chat and move on. And then, as we walk there, up stands this guy next to Neil Earnshaw's desk and says, Oi, you! Why are you chatting my mum up on a night out in Edinburgh? Never have I been so mortified. Of all the ladies in Edinburgh, you'd picked the mother of a guy who sits at a desk next to Neil Earnshaw, our key account manager. What were the chances, Peter? Listen, it's probably not the funniest story, and it's certainly not the daftest. But it does probably encapsulate what kind of person you are. And when the chance came to make a video, I couldn't say no. It was about 2007 that I joined Frontline, and I'd been at one company before that. And I can say, openly and honestly, you were one of the friendliest faces, you were one of the best people to work with. You had no agenda. It was just Peter. And for that, I thank you. And now, I guess, is quite an odd point in your life. So, from myself, from my family, remember them, I wish you all the very best. I hope retirement brings you every joy. And I hope that your children and your grandchildren, and subsequently the rest, bring you great joy for the rest of your life. And one final thing, please, Peter. No more Christmas Day messages wishing me a fantastic Christmas and that you're looking forward to seeing me in a couple of hours. Because remember, that's Christian, your son, you're trying to call, not Chris, your manager. Keep well. Hello everybody at Frontline. Hope you're all keeping well. And for those of you that don't know me, don't bother asking. Bye for now.